There was an article that was published recently in the New York Post that talked about job auditions and how they are getting completely out of control. So today we are going to talk about what the heck a job audition even is and 5 tips if you have to do one. So before we get into it, I have to give my You Got a Job shout out, and today that goes to Angelique Cortez. She came back and let me know that my tips in these videos have helped her and she got a brand new job. So congratulations to you, Angelique. So if you want a You Got a Job shout out, just leave me a comment on absolutely any video. I read all the comments, and let me know that you got the job and how my tips have helped you, and you might be my next shout out. So with that, let's start talking about these job auditions. Now, I want to start with a story. So when I got my first full-time job out of college, it was at Wheel of Fortune as a marketing assistant. And during the interview, I met with the marketing director, I met with the marketing coordinator, and then I came back for a second interview and met with other people in the building. And I think in between those two, they sent me off with an assignment, and there were 2 pieces to it. One was to read a press release and copy edit it and find any mistakes that were in it and mark those up. And then the other was to take these 20 pictures and write captions for them. And that was a little bit difficult because I had no clue who any of the people in the pictures were. And so I had to do a little research, and I checked what they'd done in the past. And the whole thing probably took me 2 hours. It probably could have been done in an hour easily, but you know, you want to go above and beyond, you're checking things, it just took a little longer. But that now would be considered a job audition. So a job audition is essentially any of those extra tasks or requirements that a recruiter or hiring manager asks you to do outside of the interview. Very common ones now are coding challenges, having to give presentations, but some of them can become, a mock-up of an advertisement, a campaign strategy. It can really run the gamut. So the issue with these job auditions is how much is too much, right? People in this article talked about the fact that they were pulling all-nighters to put together these ad campaigns or these marketing strategies, coming into the room, giving the strategy, and then they hire the intern, but they just gave away this amazing work and spent all this time. Or coding challenges that are taking hours upon hours to do, and you haven't even had a phone screen yet. So let's talk about it. First, if you are asked to do an audition, ask what the purpose of the audition is for. Now, when I got my job as a career coach at a university, I was asked to give a presentation, and I asked, okay, is it about my presentation style or is it about the strategy I use in the presentation? Also, the prompt I was given could have been taken 2 very different ways, so I asked for clarification on that as well. You might not get an answer you like, or they might say, oh, both are important, but at least you tried for clarification. I have also heard with coding challenges that a lot of times they do not expect you to end up with perfect code. They just want to see your process. So that might change the amount of time you give. So that goes to the second point. Don't spend so much time on your presentation or your code or whatever the audition is. Spend so much time on doing it that you haven't thought at all about how you would explain it. Often, once you get in the room and share your audition, whatever it is, they will ask you to explain your methodology. So make sure you've practiced that part as well, not just doing the actual task. And then when you're even applying for a job, check Glassdoor to see what they're saying about the company and the interview process. Then you're not going to be caught completely unaware when you're given one of these tasks. And if it's a task that you're given very early on, like before a screener, and it seems like it's hours long, you'll kind of know, well, maybe this isn't quite the company for me. I can't spend this much time on an audition style project as a screener. So that kind of goes to tip number 4. Know that the rule of thumb for an audition or a project is about an hour if it's early on in the process, and later on it could go up to about 5 hours if it's for an executive level position, 5 to 10 hours. So keep that in mind. If you've done a phone screener and then you have like a mini challenge or a small project that takes you an hour, that's normal. If you do a phone screener and then you have a 3-hour project, that's not okay. And with that, don't forget to negotiate if it seems like it's just outside what you can do. You can politely tell them, you know, I work full time and I have children at home or I have other commitments and I really do want this job, but I don't see any way I can get this amount of work done before the interview at the end of the week. Is there any way we can rescope this project? You know, see what they say. If they say no, you're not out. You're just going to have to work really hard. So figure out if it's possible to rescope a project if it seems outside the realm of possibility to get it done in time. And then lastly, on your end, make sure you schedule time on your calendar for this. Now, you all know I'm a huge fan of time blocking. If you don't know what time blocking is, I have a video for it. I'll put it in the description box and up here as well. But when you get the call from the recruiter or hiring manager, or at the end of the interview, they say, hey, the next step is to do this project. Block off a chunk of time in your calendar so that you have the time to do this without added stress. It's already going to be stressful, so I don't want to say without stress, but without added stress. You know, make sure you've given yourself ample time to really sit down and work on this project because it might be the key to your future. Now, it shouldn't be a 10-hour key to your future, but it might be the key to your future. So you want to make sure you've got the time set aside so it's less stressful than it already is. Hope that makes sense. So those are some tips for you. I would love to hear from you. If you've ever had to do a job audition, please leave those in the comments. I think we'd all find that interesting for one another. So leave those down below and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.